Howdy doody drummers, Rob here from drumstheword.com. In this free video drum lesson I want to show you how to play some main grooves from the song Spoonman by Soundgarden, featuring the sumptuous, gorgeous grooves of Mac Cameron. And you can download the free PDF for this lesson from my website. There's a link somewhere on this video and beneath this video. So have this printed out in front of you while you're watching this video to help you get through it a little bit easier perhaps. And while you're there, you might also want to check out my DVD bundle packs. I just recently released my Drum Masters add-on extension pack, which is a completely downloadable drum pack. You'll find the link on my website, and I'll put a link here as well. Just a recently released the last couple of months ago, and I'm very proud of it, so you might want to check that out. Right, let's crack on with the first groove that occurs 24 seconds into the song. Right, so first up, what you need to know is that Matt doesn't play the same groove more than once throughout the entire song. Pretty much every time he plays the groove, it changes. He's adding little nuances in his own little ghost notes. But I've taken what I think is one of the main grooves, which you hear at the beginning of the song, 24 seconds in. And it's a bar of 7/4. Most of the song is written in 7/4, and that simply means we're counting 7 beats per bar. Or you can think of it another way, it's a bar of 4/4, and then the second bar is just 3 beats long, a bar of 3/4. Either way, it's counted 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and. And to count the 7, because it's got 2 syllables in, I like to count sev, although I'm not very good at it because I don't really play in this time signature very often. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and. And the basic rhythm, if we play all the notes, all the snare drum, all the tom, all the bass drum notes on one drum, the rhythm we got to learn is 1E and a 2E and a 3E and 4E and a 5E and a 6E and a 7E and 1E and a 2 and a 3E and a 4E and a 5E and a 6E and a 7E and. I'm just going to split that rhythm up among different drums. So let's take one beat at a time. Beat 1, we're playing between the floor tom and high tom, and I can't guarantee he uses these exact toms on the recording, but this sounds pretty close to me. So it's 1E and we got the bass drum falling with the first note, 1E and then the bass drum falling on the of beat 1 after that last floor tom note, which is going to lead us nicely into a flam snare drum on beat 2. 1E and a 2, foot, foot, 1E and a 2. Then on to beat 2, we start with the flam 2, and then we got this and-a, that's why I play between the floor tom and medium tom. Of course you could use the high tom, it doesn't really matter. And-a, and I think he plays the bass drum with the so we get and-a, bass drum falling down with that left hand on the medium tom. And then that sticking gets repeated. If you look at beat 3 now, we skip beat 3 and we come back in on the E and the and a 3. And like I said, the hands get reversed, left, right. That seems to work pretty well for this. E and, the bass drum falls with the right hand there, E and. Then for beat 4 we got snare drum on 4 followed by a bass drum on the E of 4, so 4E, followed by the left hand up on the medium tom again, which can lead us into beat 5, 5, and that left, right sticking, the right hand comes down with the bass drum, 5. Then I think we got 2 bass drum notes, and leading us into 6, so beat 5 is 5 and 6, into beat 6 there. And then for the last part, we've got and of beat 6, 2 floor tom notes, then 2 bass drum notes, into a flam. And sev E and sev E and. So slowly, before we look at some variations and other ideas and just notes of points of interest, let's try the whole rhythm slowly as I've written it. So it's 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 5E and a 6E and a 7E and. Am I counting 5E? I am, yeah. I thought I was giving it a weird sort of syllable thing there, but 5E and sounds weird. I never count up to 5 usually. Being a drummer, being in 4/4 most of the time. So 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 5E and a 6E and a 7E and. Up to speed, it's sort of this, isn't it? So the tempo is 92 BPM. If you turn the click on, it's going by that sort of tempo. 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and. Don't worry about the fact that it clicks in 4/4. As long as you're getting the pulse, it doesn't really matter. To play along to the click, it would sound like this. And mentioning earlier on about some variations, when I play along to this, I naturally add in some ghost notes. Ghost notes are simply notes played very, very quietly. There's the main rhythm I'm playing, that's the notes I'm punctuating, but I'm certainly able and feel comfortable in dropping in some occasional little notes. For example, I like to play a little ghost note after the snare drum. If I'm playing a flam like that, I tend to play left hand flam followed by a left hand ghost note. So we get... Just fills out the notes a bit more. I'm pretty sure that Matt does similar ideas as well. I didn't want to notate this all on the music because it'd be far too confusing for you perhaps. And it's one of those things that drummers can add in themselves if they feel right. That's what makes their own unique feel and touch. It's where they put those ghost notes. It's where they put the emphasis of the rhythm and of course their timing. And that's what gives the drummer its unique sound. And Matt Cameron has his very, very own unique, beautiful groove feel that a lot of drummers like myself are very jealous of. So when I play it, I might add in some ghost notes. And another idea, just one idea of billions, you could take the last part of the bar, the and, sev, e, and. Instead of playing da, 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 you could play right, left, right foot snare. And when he plays it live, you'll hear him do lots of different variations of the groove. He doesn't play it the same live as he used to play it on the recording. He's changed the rhythm slightly, but he's able to do that. He's able to improvise and change things up and still play in 7/4 without screwing up. So you could play last bits as da, 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 da. So feel free to change any of the orchestration, add in bass drum notes, take out bass drum notes as you see fit, as long as it sort of follows the da 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 boom boom boom. And the final thing I want to say is that da 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 at the end. They've overdubbed like some crashy, splashy, trashy cymbals on the da 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 at the end. When you see Matt play it live, he obviously doesn't replicate that. But on the recording you hear like a da da dish with the cymbals and toms being played at the same time. You could perhaps play da 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 at the end of 70 and if you wanted to replicate that, but notice that Matt doesn't when he plays it live. So if I was to add in all my little ghost notes and variations and have some fun around with it, you could sort of get this kind of thing going. And I'm going to vary up a little bit and try my best not to fall over and screw up. Sort of hear the rhythm. That wasn't very good. I was on the spot with the camera on trying to improvise. But you get the point. You can sort of have fun with it. Right, let's go on to the next groove that occurs in the song that I want to talk about at 0 minutes 54 seconds. Here we go. So this groove's interesting because it starts with some crash cymbals. He comes out of a drum fill, so it doesn't always start necessarily on the toms. So beat one's different. We got one and a followed into two and a. So beat one again, one and a, and then beat two is snare drum and crash, two, followed by two bass drum notes, and a, and the second of those bass drum notes falls with the floor tom. I'm pretty sure that's what he plays, and a, to give that last note a bit more emphasis. One and a, two and a, one and a, two and a. And of course, again, this is all up to you whether you want to keep those notes in, take them out, depending on what you feel comfortable playing and what you're able to play. Then the rest of the bar is pretty similar to the line above it, the bar above it. Except the end, we've got another variation which it comes out of. So beat 6, we start with the snare drum flam. Then we get two snare drum notes and on beat 6, so and of 6, followed by two more bass drum notes into a snare and crash on the and of 7. So we get from beat 6, 6 and sev, e, and 6 and sev, e, and. Just like before, we could play it one bass drum instead. So it's right foot instead of foot foot. Right foot instead of foot foot. If you don't feel comfortable playing two bass drum notes. Let me try and play that bar for you slowly. 1 and a 2 and a 3 E and 4 E and a 1 and a 6 and a 7 and I think I counted it wrong. Let me try that again for you. 1 and a 2 and a 3 E and 4 E and a 5 and a 6 and a 7 E and weird going to 5 for me. 1 and a 2 and a 3 E and 4 E, a 5 and a 6 and a 7 E and now let's go on to the next groove. Occurs at 1 minute 23. So I wanted to show you this groove, not only because it's got a cool little lick at the end of it, but also because you can hear that Matt is leaving lots of space on the recording. When he plays it live, he plays a lot more notes. On the recording, he really held back a lot, and he left some space for the drums to breathe and the toms to naturally sound out. So here's a good example of that. The bar starts the same as our first groove, but instead of playing and he doesn't. He plays just the of beat 2. So there's this nice big gap between the snare drum flam on 2, then the floor tom and bass drum together on the of 2, giving it a little bit of space. Then the rest of the bar is the same as we've had previously. And before we go to the last bit, let's play the beginning bit properly. 1 E and a 2 E and a. That's how it's counted. 1 E and a 2 E and da da da. So it's da 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 da. Up to speed. Da 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 blah da da da. So you don't have to really sort of count it, you can just feel it. And we've got that bit at the end. So beat 6, we start with the snare drum before we always started with a flam. Easy if you start with your left hand, I'm pretty sure this way Matt would play it as well. Left hand start on the 6, then we're going to play 2 30-second notes, starting on the E of beat 6. So we get left, right, left, or 6, E, and, following into the and of 6 with the right hand, followed by the left hand at the ends on the of 6. So that rhythm, just beat 6, is 6 E and 6 E and Just the E and bit. You probably recognise that. It's called the Hurter. It's been appeared in lots of my videos before. Lots of famous songs. Lots of great drummers like to use it. So in this case, we're playing left, right, left, followed by 2 bass drum notes, dum dum on 7 E, and then a flam ending the bar on the and of 7. So we get da 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 da. And as before, we can mess up those 2 notes at the end, just as an example of many different things you could do. We could play da 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 boom dum blah. So 7 E and, or 7 E and. So that bar as written though sounds like this, slowly to start off with. Even slower perhaps. And up to speed now. Alrighty, now I want to go over the middle 8 that happens at 2 minute 41. So the middle 8 is in a different time signature. Previously we had the time signature in 7/4, we're counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? But now we go into a bar of 3/4, so we change it to counting 3 beats per bar. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. The tempo hasn't changed, we're still feeling that pulse, but we're now counting groups of 3 instead of groups of 7. So the middle 8 is actually 8 bars long, as you might imagine. But I decided to transcribe for you the final 4 bars, the second half of the middle 8, starting around 2 minute 41, that has a few more interesting things going on in it. So we're playing 8th notes up here on the crash cymbal, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And let's take a look at the first bar first, because it's the same as the third bar, which is handy for me. And we've got a bass drum falling on beat 1, and the of beat 1, which falls in between the right hand before the first snare drum on beat 2. So 1 E and a 2. For beat 2 we play 2 and we've got the bass drum in on the of 2 in between the right hands. So 2 and followed by another 3 E. So another bass drum falling in between the right hand on the E of 3. 3 E, and the bar resolves nicely with a snare drum backbeat at the end of the bar on the and of 3. So that last bit, 3 E and, it rolls into the snare drum. So that first bar slowly, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and. The second bar has some cool bits in it. It starts the same, 1 E and a 2, but then on and we play 2 bass drum notes coming down with the right hand. The first one was the bass drum notes coming down with the right hand. And followed by the 3E idea again, so a bass drum on its own on the E of 3, 3E, but then we play a double with the left hand on the snare drum, and so we get the last 2 16th notes of beat 3 played on the snare drum, and so that bar slowly is 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a. These bars are really good fun just to loop on their own. So the first bar looped up to speed would be. And the second bar. Third bar, like I said, is the same as the first bar. And then the last bar, bar 4, starts the same as all the other bars. 1 E and a 2. Then we get the and a bass drum pattern being played again. But cleverly, or technically it's interesting, Matt drops the left hand in with the second bass drum note on the of beat 2. And it's got to fall exactly with the bass drum notes. And like I said, that left hand falls in between the right hands and it happens to fall with the second of the 2 bass drum notes. So 1 E and a 2 E and a. 1 E and a 2 E and a. Then the bar ends with 3 E and another bass drum on the E, followed by a flam on the and of 3. 3 E and then it goes into that next tom section part. So that fourth bar, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 1 E and a 2. So the whole line slowly. And up to speed. Bit sloppy with the bass drum, but hopefully you get the idea. So you can contact me through Facebook if you've got any questions about this. That's the best place to contact me. Don't forget you can download the free PDF for this drum chart, and do check out my Drum Masters add-on extension pack, which I'm very, very proud of. It's a brand new product I created just a few weeks ago, and yeah, I hope you enjoy it. So until next time, toodle pip and happy drumming to you.